How's it going, guys? It's the Walk and Talk on 18th anniversary of 9/11. So, if you've been watching the channel, you saw that we did a couple of watch-alongs with my documentary film, Fabled Enemies. We're going to close that out. Hopefully, by the end of the evening, I'm obviously going to take a little bit of a break. I was on John B. Wells' program talking about 9/11 and various other subjects that I think are very interrelated. So, again, we're taking a walk. Karma really needed that walk. I feel like I needed to walk and get out of the house as well. 2 thumbs up, 29 watching. Can we thumb up, guys? Can we get this going? So, at some point during a lot of these interviews, eventually the long form stuff, people ask me, well, what can we do about it? What's the deal, Jason? What's the solution? And I hate to act like, I'm some kind of an authority on any type of solution regarding this. Let's be honest. It's a complex issue, and we've all had a very long time to think about it and take action, and yet we've never gotten beyond the barrier of the mainstream addressing it and then really absolving themselves of having to answer any of the difficult questions by ridiculing those that would dare bring it up in a serious matter, right? And that's why, to me, my films stand up. Loose Change Final Cut stands up. What's to say? Specifically to the Karma Fund. Well, thank you very much. Hey, she's doing pretty good, huh? Today marks 1 month since I got that 2 weeks to 2 months death sentence of her bone cancer diagnosis, and she's doing really well. So thank you very much, Nick. I appreciate that. Okay. So, the question is, 18 years later, who are we? Who are we as a people? Who are we as a group of activists that want truth? Who are we as a YouTube audience that's out there that some people are just watching this for the sheer entertainment value, which to me is a little bit bizarre because although, I gravitate towards information that may be hidden from the public, maybe that's just my inquisitive nature, I certainly don't want it to be in the detrimental respects that we found out, especially about 9/11. For instance, I take no pleasure in saying that there are elements within my government that not only allowed those attacks to happen, but facilitated them as well. That doesn't make me happy. That's not a fun thing for me, okay? It doesn't make me happy that people that we are allied with, such as Israel, Saudi Arabia, and Pakistan, all had roles in that day, one way or another. The actual construct of the attacks and what they were, we can sit here and argue all day. But when we look at that network, when we look at the funding, when we look at what we know about those attacks, yes, all 3 of those nations are involved as well. And I wonder if we're ever going to get beyond this infotainment, celebritard society that's focused in on the new iPhone 11. That's the big news, huh? I had hope yesterday. John Bolton gets fired, right? Right, Karma? Karma, say hello to the audience. Karma, hey, how you doing, baby? Hear that John Bolton fire? And everybody was happy. It was the #1 trend on Twitter, although it looks like they took the numbers off. They're just stacked now. What a childish thing to do, Twitter. And then what beat it? iPhone 11 had a press conference. You better believe it. Technology is way, 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 way more important than getting rid of a warmonger in this administration that continually try to lie and deceive the American and worldwide public in order for their military domination of that Eurasian region. Period. Amen. And that doesn't mean that Trump is going to make a better pick. We don't know yet, but there was a little celebration yesterday, right? Enough people were awake that was a good thing. I got a pretty large audience at this point, 33,000. I'd like more. I think that would be better. And, one of the other things that I talked to John B. Wells about, John's a little bit older than myself, was the demographics that we're reaching in these videos that are involved in this information. And to me, it is pretty sad. I'm a 40-year-old guy, right? Where are the very enlightened and intelligent and questioning commentators in that 25 to 30 range? Or even, dare I say, 18 to 25 range. Are they out there? I mean, don't get me wrong. I love Luke. I think he's 33 now, but I certainly don't agree with him on a lot, and I don't think that he's going to be a voice of a generation. I understand, you know, Tim Pool's around that same age, but Tim doesn't question enough, in my opinion, and falls too heavily into left and right politics. That, you know, that's just me. That's what I'm saying. But I think that's a problem. I'm far from perfect. My demographics of under 24-year-olds, 24 and under, is less than 2%. I think it's like something like 1.7%. And I guess something is better than nothing, but we need to reach that generation if we ever want to change anything for the better in this society. That's a fact, Jack. You better believe it. So hopefully there is going to be somebody that does it on their own, that comes up, that is trying to speak to people, to bring them together, to talk about real peace, real solutions, real ways to get us out of Afghanistan, Iraq, Syria, and the Middle East in general. Not only without military conflict, but without allowing, say, privatized groups run by a Charles Koch or a George Soros or an offset of that from the Quincy Institute to stop the forever wars via private military groups. Nick Waite says, thumbs up for the truth. Hashtag Burmis Brigade. Thank you so much, Nick. Yeah, it is a selfie stick. $1 at the dollar store. I tried that gimbal a few times. It's definitely going to be used for something else. And the selfie stick is the way to go. Right, Karma? I think so. By the way, if you caught that, yes, Karma was given the terminal bone cancer diagnosis 1 month ago. She was only on the meds they gave me for her for 2 days. They were pretty much dope meds. You know, they were like, they were no good. She was just on the couch anyway. And before I took her in, I had started her on the Joe Tippins treatment, but still hadn't gotten the turmeric curcumin or the CBD oil at the time, just the vitamin E and the fenbenzidol. But with that 4-pack, you know, she's doing really well. And that's not to say that she's not limping, but when I saw those x-rays, you know, her right arm, the top of it, some of that bone had already been eaten through. So as far as I know, this treatment isn't a regenerative one for bone tissue. But if we're still around in another month plus, we'll probably take her in. We'll go get some other x-rays and we'll see how she's doing. But we got to get Joe Tippins on the program. We're going to get Hopsicker hopefully on the program. He gave me his personal phone number yesterday. I just did not have the time to call him. And we're not only going to be talking about 9/11 and Muhammad Atta with Hopsicker when we have him on, or Barry Seal and Iran-Contra, which he's extremely well versed in, but we're going to be talking to him about Epstein. And one of the reasons that he contacted me was because of the connection with the 9/11 and Epstein's network, okay? You have to understand, when we're talking about deep politics, when we're talking about real networks, real intelligence networks, multinational networks, they are built and solidified over months, years, and decades. And they don't just go away. In fact, they usually grow stronger with more and more players that have no idea what they're really a part of. What do I mean? Well, compartmentalization is a hell of a thing. Do you think, for instance, the majority of the people that were working for Adnan Khashoggi, the billionaire playboy who Trump buys a yacht from, and who is the arms dealer in Iran-Contra, and also seems to be heavily involved in the Panama Papers dumps for setting up all these fraudulent shell companies for intelligence operations, right? You know, most people are doing the bidding through those shell corporations without knowing anything, without understanding what this real network is all about. You know, going all the way back to Iran-Contra and Khashoggi. Remember, he was getting those weapons that would go down to South America from where? He was getting them from Czechoslovakia and Poland. Well, who was he dealing them to? He was dealing to the Israeli Mossad and Mark Rich. It was then that Israel would send those weapons down to South America, and then we would ship in the drugs from South America into the United States, and the majority of the funds, the liquid assets that would move through the criminal banking organization BCCI, which would also launder the Bin Laden network money as well. And that's back in the late 70s, early 80s, all the way into the early 90s. And you can check that out. Those are facts, baby. Again, that's a fact check. And that's something that we really have to talk about on a day like today. Who are we? Where are we going? Are we going to be able to overcome these mainstream media monsters and the military industrial complex that they support? I don't know, but I'm sure going to try, and hopefully with your help, we're going to do it. So thank you again for watching. Remember, we're going to do about 3 more videos on the watch along on my film Fabled Enemies on the anniversary of 9/11 today, 18 years since that disastrous day that changed the world forever. I'll see you guys later. Thanks.